I've talked about breastfeeding a few times lately, and I feel like it's something that any mom who is considering breastfeeding or who is breastfeeding right now can relate to. But I especially want to talk to moms who are either getting ready to go on that breastfeeding journey, or you're pregnant, you're deciding if that's what's right for you, or moms who are just in the beginning. Because the beginning is hard. It is. I knew that I wanted to breastfeed Ben, and there are a lot of reasons for that, but I just knew that's what I wanted to do. And after I had him, obviously you start out with your colostrum, which was great and everything, but he started to develop jaundice, which I've mentioned in previous posts. But he started to develop some jaundice. We had to go to his pediatrician right after we got out of the hospital to have them check it out. And his bilirubin levels were getting high enough that they were getting concerned. They said if we didn't bring them down by that next day, that they would be high enough. We'd probably need to put him under the lights. And as a brand new parent with this tiny new baby that we're just, head over heels in love with, even something like that, jaundice is easily fixable. But even that was just, it wasn't fun for us to hear. And part of the reason his bilirubin was getting so high is because my milk hadn't come in yet. It was still colostrum. And so it wasn't flushing his system enough to get all the bilirubin out in order to get rid of that jaundice. And so we actually, after we met with the pediatrician, he told us we needed to start him on formula or something, just to get some fluids going through him. And obviously I realized the importance of getting the fluids in him. I wasn't about to let his jaundice get any worse, especially because if you do, besides just having to do the lights, which is hard and time consuming, if you don't take care of it, it can have some really bad consequences. And so, but obviously I was doing everything I could as far as my milk was concerned, and it just hadn't come in yet. It takes a few days, and that's normal. But I didn't really want to do formula if I didn't have to. And I lucked out. My sister was still breastfeeding my nephew at the time. And so as soon as we left the pediatrician's office, in fact, I think I texted her before we even left the pediatrician's office, and I said, hey, this is what's going on. Can I, steal a few ounces of your milk to get some fluid going through Ben? And so I think I only ended up having to give him 2 bottles, maybe 3 bottles of her milk, to really get things flushing through, and it worked. It was great. As soon as we got that extra fluid going through him, he started to get less yellow, and the nasty meconium poops that they have when they're first born, those started to go away, and he just got regular that way, which is a sign that the bilirubin is getting flushed out. So it was great, but it was a little bit of a stressful start to our breastfeeding journey, just because I was stressed as a new mom about my body's ability to give him what he needed to get rid of that jaundice. So like I said, we only had to do a few bottles, and then my milk finally came in, and things were okay there. But that was a little bit of a struggle just mentally for me. After that, nursing's painful at the beginning. It always is, because it's a tender area, and your body's not used to having a baby, especially when they do like cluster feeding and things like that at the beginning, which does help your milk come in. So it's good, it's beneficial, but it can be really painful as a new mom. And I knew it was going to be. I knew that adjustment wasn't going to be a super comfortable one, I guess. But from everything I'd read, as long as baby was latching properly and everything, after the first month and a half maybe, you shouldn't really feel it. It shouldn't hurt anymore. Your body gets used to it, your nipples adjust. And I had my Ben Boobies, the Boob Ease nipple balm, which I highly recommend. I love it. I did a little post about that a while ago, not a while ago, like last week, about why it's so awesome. It's lanolin free, it's really great, but it was only doing so much, and it, instead of hurting less as time went on, it was hurting more and more and more, to the point where I would get anxiety every time I went to latch him on because I knew it was about to hurt so bad. And my husband would watch me, and I would just, every time I latched him on, as soon as he latched on, it's like I was stamping my feet and just like trying to just like get through that initial latch because it hurt so bad. It was excruciating. And I got to the point where I'd been nursing him long enough that I was like, okay, this should not be hurting more and more, and it should not be hurting this bad. And so I went to a pediatric dentist that's near us that specializes in lip and tongue ties, and had been evaluated. And it turns out he had a pretty severe lip tie up here, which was making it so his latch was not good at all, which was causing him some issues. It can cause them to be gassy. It makes them uncomfortable in their car seats. It makes it so they're not eating enough. It makes them need to burp a lot. And then it makes it really painful for mom. It can also lead to different dental issues as they get older if it's as severe as his was, because it connects all the way down to the gums, so it can cause issues as their teeth come in and gaps and things like that. So I made the decision to get that fixed, which was hard for about 2 days. The recovery wasn't fun because his lip got swollen, but we used our oils to help him with that and occasional Tylenol, and he was fine and he healed. And we got to meet with a lactation consultant after that, a lactation specialist, who helped us with his latch, and our breastfeeding journey improved immensely after that. So I guess with that rough start, what I'm trying to say is, if breastfeeding is important to you and you know it's something that you want to do, it is hard at the beginning, but you will get past that stuff, and it does work out. And after that, our breastfeeding journey has been awesome. I mean, we've had different things where I've been worried about my supply, or I've had a clogged duct, which is not fun. They're painful, but I was able to get it out just from bed nursing. And there's some other tricks and things you can try there too. But if you want to breastfeed, if you know that's something that you want to do, even with all that stuff that can come up, it's totally worth it. Even though you have to plan your outfits around, boob access so that you can make sure that you can either pump or get your baby fed, it's totally worth it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I have loved this last year being able to breastfeed him, even though I've still been working full-time the entire time. And so I'm pumping 3 times a day at work while I'm there, which has been a challenge in and of itself, but it was worth it to me. And if you feel differently, that's okay, no judgment here. But for me, I wanted to make it to that year mark, and I'm so happy and proud that we did. And now he is getting very interested in real food. And so we are kind of doing a little bit of a gentle weaning. I used to make sure that I always fed him before we had dinner or something, because we were doing baby-led weaning, so we'd let him have whatever food he wanted. But I always made sure that he nursed first so that he wasn't filling up on that. And so now we're just kind of letting him eat whatever he wants. If he's eating with us, if he wants to nurse, whatever he wants to do is fine. And he's definitely, crazy here, he's definitely getting more interested in real food. And my supply is decreasing when I pump at work. I'm not getting as much as I used to. And so I know our breastfeeding journey is coming to an end, which I'm happy about. And kind of that relief of knowing that part of the journey is almost over. It'd be nice to really have my body back to myself after being pregnant for 9 months and nursing for over a year. But part of me is sad too, because it's such a bonding, awesome, wonderful thing that we've been able to do, and I'll miss that. So that is our journey so far. I plan to do another video as I continue to wean him, and once he is all the way weaned, so we can tell you how that whole journey went. But yes, so that was our experience. Like I said, if it's important to you, it's worth sticking out the beginning, because the beginning is rough, but the reward you get is awesome if you stick it out. So any of you breastfeeding moms out there, hang in there. It gets better. It gets so easy to just be able to feed them wherever you want. And I hope you have a fantastic week.